I'm Ryan Milton from Team Flex, and today we're going to be diving into Masters Bikini at the national level. We're going to look at a Class C 40-plus Masters Bikini, and we're going to look at our top 5 competitors, talk about the Pro Card winner and the rest of that top 5 group, why those placings landed the way they did, and ultimately what this means for you as a bikini competitor out here 2025, trying to get a Pro Card, trying to compete on stage. Do your best, especially if you're in the Masters tier too, right? That's what this video is going to be all about today. This is what I'm doing all this time on this channel. So if you are into learning more, finding out more, and doing your best on stage, be sure to subscribe, follow along, hang out with me. All right, so again, as I said, this is Masters Nationals. We are looking at first place here, Pro Card winner Jennifer. Second place over here, Quanae. And third over here, Carla. We're going to break down each one of these ladies here, talk a little bit about it. But instantly what you'll recognize is what we know bikini criteria to be. And that is the hourglass shape. There isn't a single athlete in this group that isn't going to exemplify that, because that is exactly what bikini is all about. Up, down, left, right, symmetry, shape, proportion, and it is really holding its own now. It has forever, but especially as these other divisions like fit, model, and wellness, continue to gather footing, we start to see more and more bikini is really the most symmetrical women's division out of that grouping there, okay? So let's take a look. So Jennifer here. Jennifer wins this class, wins her Pro Card. As we can see, good overall shape to the shoulders here, that fullness, that roundness. This is something you're going to want. Do not sleep on the shoulders in bikini. I know a lot of athletes have been doing that. There's also been the opposite in some cases where athletes are coming in here with, cannonball figure size deltoids. You don't want that. What you want is exactly what's going on here. A little bit of fullness and shape, front delt, rear delt, lateral delt. We'll see the rears when we get to the back, but it creates that rounded effect. It creates that fullness, that shape, and that is exactly what creates, guess what, the top piece of your hourglass shape. That is what judges see to see, okay, is this athlete muscle? Do they have the good shoulder development? Or do they have too little? Do they have too much, right? It's first place judges are really going to look at here, right? The next place goes right to the midsection. So you want to have a good V-taper type of a look going on here. I say this for all divisions, but especially here, we really want to pay attention to a flat stomach, really narrow waist. The more narrow you can get your waist, the more, you're going to do better in bikini. That's the bottom line, okay? Biceps and triceps here. Really, she just nails this look. She does not have overdone bicep and tricep going on in any degree. We can really see overall she's got, that good shape. Proportion here, letting the delts really take that upper show. That's exactly what you want in this division. Keep in mind, do not overdo the bicep and tricep. I see it a lot. Athletes to this day still really overdoing that look, and that will score you down every single time. Now, lower body-wise, what we want to look for, right, is exact symmetry, meaning glutes, quads, hamstrings, all need to match what's going on up top, match what's going on in the midsection. The most symmetrical hourglass athletes are going to be the ones that are winning these classes, especially at nationals, right? By the way, for 2 seconds, let's talk about the fact that we are looking at a 40-plus class here. So for all you ladies out there that are like, it's too late for me. I'm 33. I can't look at what's going on, right? Look at these women on the stage just killing it. You can definitely do it. You should be doing it. Do not sleep on the fact that you can compete in this sport any time. I had IFBB pros in their 50s, okay? They turned pro in their 50s, all right? You do not need to not compete because of your age. Okay, so looking lower body-wise, she's got great overall glute fullness, good density there. The upper glute, this is one of those areas judges are always going to look for. She's nailed it. It's full. It's there. It's not underdone. It's not flat. It's not depleted. It's exactly where it needs to be for this. Now, quads, hamstrings, from this angle, you really want to make sure the quads don't overpower, and hers do not, right? We can see good shape, good fullness there, but it's not overpowering. Conditioning-wise, honestly, I would say she starts to err the side of a little too lean, but we do see that on a lot of Masters competitors, right? Because they can actually have a bit more muscle frame, a bit more muscle maturity, and, the skin tends to be what we could call a little bit thinner for whatever reason. It just looks a little bit leaner. Masters competitors in general do look like that most of the time. So she really nails that look, and the reason I'm saying could be on the edge of getting too lean, you start to see some abs. Veins in the abs, veins in the shoulders, veins. It's not bad on her. It works. And obviously she wins this class, wins her Pro Card. But, it can be a little bit too lean. You got to know where the look goes. This competition, generally does go a little bit leaner. So again, another huge advantage to, knowing where you're going to compete. Now let's take a look at some of the other class here, some of the other groups here. We're going to do the top 5 today, by the way. I told you that before, but if you're liking it, subscribe. We got a lot more coming, okay? Quanae over here, what we can see, good overall shoulder shape, all right? She has a little bit less fullness than Jennifer. That's one of those markers we'll notice right away, right? Just a little bit less, not bad, just a little bit less. Bicep and tricep for her, I do tend to get a little bit more. She has a very, just overall, initial reaction to her physique is a more muscled, a little bit of density, more density in the muscle and everything else. It's not bad, but it is a difference compared to first to second, right? That's something we want to look at. So I do get a little bit more bicep tricep from her. Still good going on in the midsection here. So it's maybe just a tad bit not as narrow. Could also be opposing choice. But again, keep in mind, every single person is going to have a different look. You're going to have a different look on stage. You're going to have to work to train your best look. But when we're looking at comparisons first to second, that is something that stands out a little bit is her muscle density. Also in the lower body, the glute's very full. Upper glute is all there. Everything's great. Good balance here between the quads, the glutes, and the hamstrings. She maybe starts to look just a tad quad heavy here in this shot. We'll have to see really when we get to the back. But for her, I would say a little bit more muscle density. Overall, not a bad thing. But, at this competition, it is a little bit of a differential from first to second, I would say, looking at this right here. So overall, great, look, great overall aesthetic there. That is a little bit different. Conditioning wise, she is a little bit leaner too than we typically see at some of these events. Not a big deal though, because again, like I said, if you know your show, you know your look. This is one of those comps that tend to go a little bit leaner anyway. All right, let's take a look over at Carla now. Carla and Jennifer here. We'll keep the side by side. So Carla has a little bit less fullness going on in the upper body instantly. We can kind of see that. Not as much of that delt shape coming through. So again, this is one of those areas bikini compares be focused on, right? Because judges are really show after show after show. I'm reviewing it. I'm seeing that fullness in the shoulders be a big target factor for, where this is eventually going. Judges are really looking at shoulders a lot in bikini right now and overall fullness. Good taper into the midsection here overall. What looks a bit different, her lower body definitely has good overall glute shape and structure here, but the quads, the hamstrings don't appear to be matching as symmetrical as, everything else going on there. Also, just a little bit of a difference in conditioning upper to lower. So for everything up here, it looks a little bit softer. For everything down here, it looks a little bit harder, right? Look like the quads are looking pretty split up, pretty cut up, things like this. That uneven level of condition, it is something common. It does happen to a lot of competitors, but it is one of those things judges are always going to want you to correct. So Carla's really got a great look overall, great representation of bikini criteria where it sits today. But when we're talking about the differences in placings, it's those types of things that really do make a difference. Let's pop over to the back, though. As I always say, the full story isn't told till we get to that back pose. And what we can see right here, we look at all three. Okay, quick snapshot, and let's go in on Jennifer first, come back out in a second here. So again, judges are still looking for this exact hourglass shape. That's exactly what they want to see in this pose from the back as well, and that's all going to be made up by, guess what, again, the muscles, folks. So we're looking at the shoulder shape here. We're looking at that taper in. Everything is there. She's got really good symmetry up top. And what happens in bikini and what should be happening is the lower body really takes the show. So upper glute fully developed, overall glute development there, slight separation between that glute hamstring tie-in, just like you want to see, and really good balance between the quads and the hamstrings. When I say balance, I mean, nothing's overpowering, right? Everything looks in pretty good symmetry, proportion, shape. Nothing's overpowering that look. That's what we tend to see here. Very complete conditioning, She looked a little bit leaner from the front, not from the back. This is about exactly where bikini conditions should be. So slam dunk look for her there. Quanae over here, what we can see, a lot of similarities, but some clear differences as well, right? And in fact, I'll put it right here a little bit more. So we can see just a little bit of that shoulder shape coming through, just like we should. Tapers in here. We know all that. Lower body wise, the biggest difference here, quads, a little bit more pronounced, so a little bit quad heavy. She looked that way from the front as well. And also glutes look a bit under from the back, right? So not as much going on in the upper glute or overall fullness here. Slight separation in the tie-in, that's still good. Hamstring development looks pretty good. But I would say her glutes look under and quads look a little bit over from this position here. So when you see that, typically what you're going to have to do is fill out the glutes a little bit more, add a little more size up top, a little bit more fullness, and then or reduce the quad shape if you have to, because bikini division, that's really where things tend to go. Now, Carla over here, what we can see, good overall shape. Again, at nationals, you're going to see this on everybody. Everybody's within points of each other. That tends to be what we see, especially in this top 5 call out. Overall glute structure appears to be pretty good. Tapers in pretty well. Good, glute hamstring separation there, but realistically, the rest of her lower body looks a little bit under muscle compared to what's going on, right? And that's kind of how it looked from the front. The quads and the hamstrings are not really meeting exactly what the glutes are doing, and the upper body does seem to stand out a little bit more overall in general as being maybe too dominant from this look. So a lot of things. It's development and it's reshaping. That's what we see a lot in these divisions as we go. By the way, if you need help with anything, free coaching trial, okay? I do this for, some people have been asking me like, oh, what if I already have a coach? I got a lot of people that already have a coach that come do the free trial. It's just free information. It's free feedback. It's free second pair of eyes. If you watch the channel, you learn stuff. Come get coached by me free for 7 days. And I can tell you so much more. I can show you so many things that would be beneficial: training, nutrition, give you analysis of your current physique, assess your posing, whatever it is you want to do. That's what I can do. It's totally free. I may get rid of it, to be honest. So grab it up while you can. I've been doing it. I probably put thousands and thousands and thousands of people through this at this point, and everyone loves it. It is, something that takes time, energy, and effort from me. So it won't be around forever. So get it while you can. All right. Get out and check it out. All right. Let's go now. We're going to bring in our group, our 4th and our 5th here. And we're going to leave Jennifer right in the middle and just talk a little bit about it. And, when we get into these other placings, 4th, 5th, start to get a little bit of a bigger difference between what's winning in that class versus what's not. However, I will say this event here, very, very competitive, very close placings across the board. So let's look at Raquel here. Good overall shoulder shape, tapers in pretty well right there. What I start to see right away is, good glute structure, quads, hamstrings. It's a very complete look from the front. I would honestly guess what we're going to see is the biggest difference is when we go to the back here, but I can already tell from the front a little bit less glute fullness, a little bit less fullness in the shoulder. Her arms maybe a little bit more overpowering than Jennifer over here. Nothing crazy. Abdominals flat, locked in. That looks pretty good. Oblique is there. Conditioning is probably exactly spot on. We are seeing really good shape from her. Maybe just a little bit, difference in the fullness. There is what we're going to see when we get to the back. We'll see in a second. And then Autumn over here. So Autumn has a lot of shoulder, probably the most shoulder out of this group so far. So one of those athletes with bigger delts that are pushing it maybe just a little bit too far, and that can kind of change that. And also bicep and tricep, maybe the biggest, most developed in this group as well. Good taper into the midsection. It's all there. Lower body wise, this is where we can see some glute shape, but maybe just a little bit depleted in that upper glute, a little bit maybe needs some more work on that upper glute. That's a big factor at nationals. Judges are going to look for it, and that's a big difference here. What we can see 1st to 5th right there. Lower body wise, otherwise, her quads, her glutes, all in good balance here. Quads maybe look a little bit heavy here. We'll have to see when we get to the back, as we always say. But, very close from all these athletes, all great representations of this division and where it's going right now. Looking from the back, full story is always told, and it is told yet again. So right here, what we can see, looking at Raquel and Jennifer. So Raquel from the back, we kind of, for whatever reason, are losing a lot of the shoulder shape here, which can make the lower body look a little bit imbalanced. It makes it look a little bit too dominant from this angle here, right? So some of this is posing probably. Some of it could be peaking, things like that. She looked really solid in that front from the back. It's a very lower body dominant look compared to what's going on over here with Jennifer. Pretty easy to see that, right? Getting a little bit more of that quad sweep, a little bit more of the hamstring fullness, glute. Everything, it's all a lot of good shape and everything's there. It's probably honestly maybe some little peak changes, a little bit of posing tweaks, things like that. And that's a complete look that could be, a slam dunk for her. But very, very close as it is at nationals all the time, but that's a big difference. If you look right here, look at this lower body of Jennifer, the class winner, pro card winner, to over here, you know, it's a little bit more of a shaping, a little bit tighter of a look. So what judges really look for at nationals, okay? Now, Autumn over here. So Autumn, what we can see, good overall look. Not really getting too much of the shoulders, but you know, they're there, tapers in, all that same stuff. Really what we're looking at here, lower body. So this is definitely, you know, upper glute work that needs to happen. Like I was saying, this is like the #1 feedback for bikini competitors. I'm telling you, when I'm coaching athletes, and I hammer the upper glute, but you still hear upper glute feedback a lot, all the time. I mean, I hear it from other people asking me for stuff, advice on Instagram, whatever. They're saying, yeah, my upper glute, my upper glute. Okay, well, it's a big one. So really make sure you hammer that out. She's one of those athletes, probably needs a little bit more of that. Overall glute fullness as well. Tie-in looks pretty solid. Honestly, her muscle and her legs, her quads, and her you know, hamstrings look pretty good. A little bit more filled out there, and probably add a little bit more fullness to the glutes as well. Would be the slam dunk look for her. So realistically, you know, this is top 5. This was the biggest class at this event. And, you know, all these ladies giving us a great example of what is coming forth here. And keep in mind, all you watch it, 40 plus right here. Congratulations. And for all of you out there that are like, I can't do it. I can't. Hey, look at these ladies setting the standard for you. All right. It's freaking awesome. Love to see it. We'll cover a lot more on the channel. So make sure you subscribe, you follow, you hang out. And as always, if you need help, do the free trial. All right. Do the free trial. It's a great opportunity for you. And I'd love to see you in there. All right. Thanks for watching. Coach Ryan is out.